We are trying to unbundle what happened during the overnight hours with this Politico report. It's a news site that's reporting of a leaked draft opinion that may indicate the nation's highest court may overturn Roe v. Wade. So joining me this morning to talk more about this is our former U.S. Attorney from the Eastern District, Barbara McQuade. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks very much, Rhonda. Glad to be with you.
I know it's been a busy morning. I've been on MSNBC this morning as well. Can you talk us through this? This is an unprecedented situation where a draft document from a U.S. Supreme Court justice has been leaked. Has this even ever happened before?
Yeah, this is the leak itself is huge news, Rhonda, but even bigger news, of course, is the substance of what's in it, completely overruling Roe versus Wade and eliminating any right to abortion whatsoever for women in America. It's not 15 weeks, it's not 16 weeks, it's not 6 weeks, it's never. There is no right to abortion in America, and there is no exception for rape, there's no exception for incest. It simply disappears the 1973 ruling in Roe versus Wade that had given women in America the right to an abortion.
So if this draft opinion and the Supreme Court is nearing this decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, help us understand the implications of this across the country and here in the state of Michigan.
Yes. So what prevented states from enacting bans on abortion before now was that Roe versus Wade was there that said that there's a constitutional right to have an abortion up until the time the fetus reaches viability, which is about 24 weeks. And so what we've seen are these challenges coming down from other states. This one was a case out of Mississippi where the legislature enacted a ban after 15 weeks. Rather than say 15 weeks, the court said, whole hog, there is no right to abortion whatsoever. So many states have what are called trigger laws, which is in the interim since 1973, their legislatures have passed laws that say, if Roe versus Wade is ever overturned, then we will make abortion illegal in our state. There are 13 of those. There's another dozen or so states, like Michigan, that had pre-existing laws on the books that became illegal when Roe versus Wade was decided in 1973. So here in Michigan, we have a 1931 law that makes it a felony to perform an abortion. And now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, or appears that it's headed in that direction, that law is resuscitated. And so as soon as Roe is overturned, then the law of the state of Michigan is that it is a felony to provide an abortion in our state.
And we should say that this is just a draft opinion right now. The full actual opinion won't happen until the summer. But you indicated this law back in 1931 that's on the books here in Michigan that would make it illegal if Roe v. Wade is overturned to have an abortion. And our Michigan Governor, Gretchen Whitmer, is working to try and make that law unconstitutional. So what is that process and how successful could she be?
The law from 1931 is a little bit archaic. It uses terminology that we don't use today. And so I think there is actually a decent shot of challenging it before our Michigan State Supreme Court, where there is a majority of members who are progressive, selected by the conventions of the Democratic Party. So perhaps that bodes for a different outcome than we've seen in the U.S. Supreme Court. And there is a violation of due process when a statute uses language that is vague. And I think that there is a fair argument to be made that this statute does that. So that's one avenue. The other is Attorney General Dana Nessel has pledged not to enforce this law, as has Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald. And so without a prosecutor enforcing the law, that means people can violate it without any repercussions. But what's interesting about that is it could be this very curious scenario where it would be permissible to perform abortions in some counties in Michigan where you have a prosecutor who's going to decline to enforce it, and in some counties where it is a crime. Now, I imagine that if it's a crime anywhere, there will be that chilling effect that most performers, most health providers are going to stand down and not want to perform abortions in Michigan.
Well, there is so much more that I would like to ask you, but we are out of time right now. Thank you so much for making yourself available to us this morning. Some very insightful information. We appreciate it.